when you run out of time, can you get anything done? Really? Should we find out? So this week my plan was to paint a dreadnought and see how much I can get done with that in a week. Then work got really in the way. So Saturday morning I decided to do something completely different and see how much I can get that done in one sitting. So today we're going to paint a... what is it? Mind fart. It's a Thunder Warrior. That's the one. We're going to paint a Thunder Warrior in one sitting. Now the model is designed by Boulder Jugend. I picked it up from his Patreon, and a friend printed it for me, and it's been sat on my shelf for a couple of months now, at least 4 or 5 months. So I seen it there when I was doing something else and thought, well, let's put it together and see how we go. So what we've done before this next bit of the video starts, we've built the model, primed it with a rattle can, and it's got a little plastic base because I've got a slot base underneath it. So let's go. Right, so you can see the portion where I've primed it on the cardboard, little bit of cardboard I've got, a little bit of white, blue tack. It does the job brilliant. The aim of today is just to get something that is tabletop ready in as little as time as possible. So we started about 7 o'clock at night, and what I'm starting with here is all the paints next to me, so let's have a look. Runod brass, and all we're looking to do by here is get an even coat on all of the model where the armour is. With that done, I'm using lead belcher to then pick out the silver. A very nicely focused shot of my glasses and my eyebrows. And with that done, then we start to pick out, if I remember correctly, so we put in a layer of null oil across everything. So the idea I was going with here is to try and darken everything down to then highlight certain areas back up. And I used my room heater to sort of blow that dry so we'd keep the time down. With that done, then I started to pick out the white, any areas that are going to be red in the final model, giving a base coat of white using Pro Acryl Bold Titanium White. This stuff is really good. You get it the right consistency and it covers every colour pretty much in either 1 or 2 coats. Absolutely redundant shot. You can't see what I'm doing. I can't remember what I was doing. So yeah, still working on the white. The plumage on the top of his head, just being careful not to go over the metal work that I've already done, even though that's not going to matter in a minute. And at this stage I'm not too concerned about being precise. I'm just trying my best to not massively overpaint things. Is at this point I decide there needs to be more white. I'm thinking at this point now, yeah, I don't like the colour of it. So we're going back over it with Retribute Armour. And I'm going for a very heavy dry brush in this stage. Just with a really cheap old brush. Again, this is something that anyone can do. Bring it into focus. And we're going for a very heavy dry brush. Now I could probably get away with just doing this from the start, but I wasn't sure where I was going and what I was doing when I did this, so we'll see. Obviously, I'm not trying to be gentle, I'm not trying to be careful again, I'm just trying to bring as much of the colour in as possible. And then what I'm trying to do next with Liberated Gold, I'm just trying to stipple and very lightly overbrush, if that makes sense. Just the raised areas, keeping the recesses that Retributor armor a golder colour, the darker oranger gold in the recesses, to build up a layer of depth between the highlights and the lowlights. And then I've gone in with a Reichland Flesh shade to add a bit more brown to the colour, because I feel like it needs that warmth but in the shade of the warmth. And then we're going to just touch all the whites back up where I've gone a bit mental. And again, this is less than 3 hours overall. If I'm clever, I'll put the timestamps on the video for you. So what I can do then is go over all the white with the Vallejo Game Red. I think it is anyway. Model colour red. And at this point I'm starting to be a bit more careful with where the colours are going, because I don't have to go back over everything I've done already. But still, it doesn't matter. A little bit of a rogue swipe is not going to hurt anyone. And you can probably tell I'm putting the layers on pretty thick by here, because I'm just trying to build up a base layer. Then I'm going in with what I would call Mithril Silver, but is now called Storm Host Silver. I felt that the lead belcher wasn't contrasting enough with the colours on the previous coat of metal I did, so yeah, Storm Host to give it that much brighter appearance against the darker gold colours. Again, we're just looking to pick out details that give it a bit of something to stand out against. And we can do the axe head in this Mithril Silver, as I'll call it. As you can probably tell, the size of this thing against compared to a Space Marine, it stands head and shoulders above a Space Marine. Even the Primaris machine. Can't speak. Primaris machine. Marines. I'll get out in the end. Yeah, this Stormhost Silver does not want to go on properly. Not your standard Games Workshop metallic colour quality. And then we're going to use, if I remember what colour it is, Vallejo Flat Brown as the base colour. I'm not looking for anything fancy by it, it's just getting base colours down, colouring in all the squares. I've just mixed a little bit of titanium white into that just to give a bit of a highlight colour, and I've just got a very quick top surface colour. And then I'm mixing in AK fluorescent orange into the red to bring out a highlight colour. So the intention was by here to pick out the rivety bits on the, it's rivets but in the fabric, it's a bit weird, a bit of a weird sculpt. Then Then we were going to give it scratchy layers, and I couldn't do it. So I've just gone with the traditional picking out layers, picking out highlights, adding more of the orange into the red to bring it more and more lighter as we go. You can see that's pretty much orange on the brush. My lovely little split brush. And I'm just using synthetic brushes here, there's nothing special going on. And then it comes to the bit that I am not happy with on this model. I've using a Vallejo purple for the base. I think it might be magenta and not purple. But yeah, the idea is give it more of a flashy, colourful underneath the skin, and then we're building up layers with dark sand, I believe it is. And this is the area that if I had more time, or I was going to go back and redo, this would be the section I'd redo. I'd give it a different base colour and then thin the paint a bit more. So now we're going to pick the other bits of the metal out on the axe with lead belcher, just to give us that little bit of a difference in colour, and using Vallejo flat black to recolour the gloves. And these don't need a highlight, there's almost nothing to them. Thin the paint really thin, then the black, to give us a bit of black lining on the face, and then we're going to mix it with a bit of white, well, colour in some of the lens, outline the lens, and then we're going to use the grey, mix it with the white to create like a two-tone effect for the lens. Rough and ready. Like I said, if I could have another go, I'd go back and do it again, which I may do in my spare time. And then using a little bit of white in the corners just to pick out like a bit of a highlight, to give it a bit of a glint on the light lens. That face is really letting it down, isn't it? So what we're doing then is a little bit of Reikland Flesh Shade, just to give those loincloths a bit of definition. So just being really careful by ear to only go in the creasiest of crease is, and not get it over the red of on the main surface. And then I'm using a bit of Nuln Oil on the metal and underneath of the arms just to give it a bit of a shadow. And there you go. That in total took less than 3 hours. And you've got a game ready piece for there. I think that was less than 2 hours. Because yeah, I've gone in then with a bit of PVA glue and a sculpting tool. I just found the sculpting tool nice and easy because it's got a very narrow tip on it, and all we're doing there is pushing the PVA glue around on the base to get full coverage. And what you don't see on the camera is me trying to sprinkle the basic material while it's still on the handle and getting it everywhere on the table, so when it cuts it'll be inside of the pot underneath it, which is my intention when I put the pot there. So yeah, this is the better way to do it. Get 2 pots, one with your basic material in, one with your model in, pour the one into the other, and then when you're done you just pour the basic material back into your main pot and stack them together. And this is the secret to getting good bass in is Mod Podge and IPA mixed in equal parts, and just drop it on until the bass is saturated. The IPA will let the Mod Podge flow across the bass. There you go. This is after that basic material's cured. I've got a very usable model in under 2.5 hours. Yeah. So there we go. A bit of experimentation, not knowing where we're going to go. We ended up with a model that's damn usable, I'd say. Like, given a bit more time, I'd go back and do the face. But yeah, hopefully next week this dreadnought will be done and you'll be able to see what I've done with that. Because I've done a bit of edge highlight as well, so that'll be interesting to see how I've done that. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. As always, diolch, da boch, and nos da.